change.
These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it. I hate this channel.
Hey there, I'm social justice warrior V Infuso. And as long as there's a celebrity wing in the WWE Hall of Fame, why hasn't my man Rodzilla been inducted?
Are you talking about the real hot rod? Dennis Rodman?
I mean, sure, yeah, he's best buds with Kim Jong-un, but Vince is friends with Donald Trump, so, you know, they can't all be winners. Guys, don't get political in the comments section. It's a joke, not a personal attack. Dennis Rodman was a big part of pop culture in the late 90s. When he wasn't carving out his legacy on the basketball court, he was marrying Carmen Electra and wearing the wedding dress. It seemed like the guy was constantly making headlines, so it made sense that after he was suspended for the 1996/1997 NBA season because he kicked a cameraman in the crotch. Yeah, that's a thing. That's the thing that happened. After being suspended from the NBA, he decided to take up professional wrestling in order to pass the time.
Hulk Hogan, check it out. An NBA superstar, Dennis Rodman.
Me and Rod the Bod, we were riding Harley Davidson's, brother. You know, we heard Vader's big mouth, how he's lived around the area, how he lived in the inner city, brother. Place, man. Take it easy, big man. Right now,
The man known as The Worm would begin appearing on WCW Nitro alongside close friend Hollywood Hulk Hogan, repping the black and white colors. Rodman wasn't just a guest, he was actually a legitimate member of the NWO. And to further prove my point here, here's a Dennis Rodman action figure I owned as a kid that WCW sold. And by the way, that's not the only one. They made a couple. He'd appear often on weekly shows, not so much in a wrestling role, but in a supporting spot as the group's enforcer and endorser. His attitude on the court, his look, and his bad boy persona made him the perfect addition to this team. He also helped legitimize the stable as something bigger than wrestling, something that was ingrained in pop culture at the time. This was one of the NBA's top stars showing up in a wrestling ring, continually. To say this was unprecedented is an understatement. At Bash at the Beach 1997, teaming up with the self-proclaimed godfather of the NWO, Hulk Hogan, taking on the team of Luger and future Big Show, the Giant. Yeah, he was green. Yeah, he was sloppy. Of course he was. He was an athlete, but this wasn't his sports entertainment. But the guy held his own to some degree, especially as a character. The man was the ultimate heel. He had the mannerisms down perfectly. Probably from years of playing the bad guy with the press. The match wasn't anything fantastic, obviously, but it was impactful enough to leave an impression. And Rodman, for an untrained wrestler, did a pretty damn good job. Ultimately, the team would lose the match, but that did very little to discourage Dennis from returning to the ring.
I'd like to be running around more, getting in more belts from up there. That much. Big star. He's going to do it again. Look at the reach down. It has many. Look at Dennis Rodman. Taking care of Luger. WCW hit the wrong guy. The Worm. He's got him up. Look at this. Look at this. The network is going to be Dennis Rodman's appearance and the force he made.
That same year, he'd play into the age-old WCW trope of being an imposter Sting at that year's Road Wild, attacking Lex Luger and helping his bud Hogan win back the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Got him backed up right here. Put him back. Sting is out. Sting is here, guys. All right. Oh, no. Sting has arrived. Oh, no. To the ball game. And he nailed it.
Rodman would return to the basketball court, where he and the Chicago Bulls would defeat the Utah Jazz in the 1998 NBA Finals, which of course naturally led to the Utah Jazz player Karl Malone making his way to a wrestling ring to challenge Dennis Rodman. The postman Karl Malone would team with fan favorite DDP, decked out in his colors to take on the team of Hogan and Rodman. Yes, the match wasn't great. As a matter of fact, it might be a little bit worse than the previous match, as he was just one inexperienced guy in a ring full of experienced workers. and The Big Show, whereas in this match, both Rodman and Malone weren't professional wrestlers, and that kinda brought the match down. But otherwise, the match did bring in a crowd, and did catch the public's attention. The story leading up to it, and the spectacle itself, is still remembered by many wrestling fans, and stands out as an iconic moment in that company's history. Even if the match wasn't too great, still had a good lead-in. WCW was absolutely making headlines at the time. Much like their feud on the basketball court, Rodman bested Malone yet again. As the NWO came to a close, Rodman appeared again in WCW in 1999. This time feuding with his former stablemate, Randy Savage, making this the Rodman versus the Macho Man. Please hate me in the comments, that's what they're there for. Rodman claimed that Savage's girlfriend and valet, Gorgeous George, wanted to be with him, as opposed to Randy. This, of course, naturally led to a confrontation on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and then led to his worst match to date. I mean, this match, if you could even call it, I'm not sure legally you can, but this match was just miserable. Just miserable. Miserable.
So violent. He's clearing people around. He was going to get this man with minimal training. Oh! Can he do it? Turn his attention to Randy. He don't care. Rodman in there together. 3 referees and 1 dog back. I don't usually think like you. Well, no, I was just thinking you could use that and just yank on it. Yeah, just like Savage appeared. Savage has an earring in as well. They really don't worry about on the asphalt here. Oh, we're going to follow them as far as. Oh, we are out back. Uh-oh. Into the porta potty goes Dennis Rodman. Oh no! He just tipped it over. Oh no! The sight will never forget. Never ever forget. That's one for the all-time. And now this thing could end. It could be an injury. Has the sleeper on. Dennis Rodman. Fist balled out. 3. He did it.
What the hell is that?
Following WCW closing its doors, Dennis Rodman began working with iGeneration Superstars of Wrestling. If you don't know what that is, you're not missing much. It's fine. It's okay. In a pay-per-view event called Rodman Down Under, which sounds a lot less like a wrestling show and a lot more like the name of his unreleased sex tape, he wrestled the former Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig in an Australian Outback match, which sounds a lot less like a wrestling match and more like a Vince Russo punchline. The match was actually just your standard hardcore match, and it was very underwhelming. Not all that, not good. Not good. And the match, of course, ended in a disqualification. Because of course it did! I mean, it's a no DQ match, so what better way of ending it than with the DQ? Makes sense to me. You know, of course I'm joking, but, you know, when you really think about it, I think it does make sense. I mean, Rodman clearly couldn't put Hennig over. I mean, could you think about what that would do to his wrestling career? You know, the one he really doesn't have? So many strange decisions. He would also later in 2008 work on and win Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling, a show pitting semi-celebrities, far past their fame, against each other in an effort to prove who could have made it in the wrestling industry. Although he was already in the wrestling industry, had some experience in that business, so why is he on the show? Luckily, that fact went unmentioned during his entire run on the show, with him acting as if everything he was seeing for the first time in his life. Overall, it was a strange decision not only to include him, but to have him win, under those false pretenses. Of course he was gonna. He has, out of everybody there competing, he's the most knowledgeable. You know what? I'm starting to think wrestling's fixed. All in all, Rodman had a few notable moments in the ring. And if we're inducting the likes of Drew Carey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Refrigerator, whoever the fuck that is, I think Dennis Rodman is long overdue for his spot in that hall. But hey, what do I know? I'm just some mark.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You're watching the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso's channel, dude. So if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too want to become a V-tard, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click that little bell icon to get updates and notifications. Ooh, tell him what up, Mach. Ooh, yeah.
follow the man on Twitter. Yeah, because we all know it's not stalking if it's on the internet. Yeah, join the madness by joining the Discord. And if you have a moment of time and a free dollar to spare, head over to the SIJW's Patreon, dig it, where you can request videos, get exclusive videos, and early access to content. Yeah. Or go down to PayPal, where you can buy the shirts, brother. But most importantly, just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.